Hello and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If this is your first time, please let us know what city, what state, or what country you're listening in from. Also, I ask if you can, everybody that's listening, could you go ahead and hit the like button? It helps us to raise the algorithm so that we can be seen and make our content more available to those like-minded like us, of like-minded. I want to also thank everybody for your consistency. Like I said, every week we get the emails, we get the feedback. Also, I want to thank everybody who's sold, who's donated to this organization. We are forever grateful. Your seeds, your donations help us to market, to promote, to advertise our channel, to help it grow, and also to give us more visibility and so forth. And so I am forever grateful for your donations and your seeds that you've sown into this ministry. And we want to say thank you. No gift is too small, no gift is too big. And we understand that we bless the gift, but we most importantly bless the giver. And so we are forever grateful for that. I want to thank everybody for helping us out, everybody who's been contributing. It's helping us tremendously. You have no idea. So we are forever grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving into June. We're at the halfway mark of the year. We're at the middle of the year. We're mid-year, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the middle. And in this month of June that we're moving into, this is going to be a very significant month, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to move into a new dimension, a new elevation of mind, a new level, a new plateau. I just want us to be ready. I want us to be aware of our surroundings and what's going on. He that has an ear, let him hear what's being said. And so I'm looking at some things that are going to be happening, and I want to just prepare us and give us insight this month of June. So, once again, my consultations are open. Those of you that want to schedule a consultation with me, go ahead and click the link. I still am offering the discount code of 25% off. We also have a new book, which is the third 365-day astrological compass. If you don't know anything about astrology, it's good for you to have it. And if you do know about astrology, it's still good for you to have it. And it is available. And we also have the coupon code to give you 15% off if you want to go ahead and get that. And so I'm just forever grateful for everything that you guys are doing, for the consistency. We're here every time, same place every week. And we're looking forward to the mid-year. Now we're in the middle of the year, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask the question. I want to ask this question. Are you where you want to be in the year 2026? Are you where you want to be? I'll be transparent with you guys. I'm not there, but I'm on my way. I'm on my way to be where I want to be. I'm not stagnant. I'm not stuck. I'm moving. I'm working towards the destination of where I'm going. And so I wanted to ask you this question. We're at the midpoint. This is the middle of the year. We're at the mid-year. Are you where you want to be in life? Are you where you want to be? Are you enjoying the things that you want to enjoy? Are you experiencing the things that you want to experience? I got to ask that question because we're in the middle of the year. We, ladies and gentlemen, we were just in the month of January. And if you blinked, we're now in June. We're getting ready to enter into the summer. And right after the summer, we go into the fall. And so I have to say, time is flying. And with time flying, we also need to keep in track of what we're doing and where we're going in life. And so I wanted to talk about that today because I felt like there is there's an old quote that I love, and the old quote says, "If you do not change directions, you may end up where you are heading." Let me say that again. If you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading. And so the question, ladies and gentlemen, is where are you heading? Where are you going? Where are you going? I want to know where you're going, because if you don't change directions, you will be going where you're heading. And some of us may not be heading in the right direction. We may not be moving in the direction that we should move in. I want to talk a little bit about that today. So I feel that there is no greater time than the present. The month of June is a good month. It's a summer month. It's a month where we come into the summer solstice. Uh, it's a great month. I'm looking forward to some great opportunities, some great things happening. Um, I'm looking forward to uh, some projects and different things that I'm working on come to fruition. I think there's no greater time than the present, so I'm extremely excited about that. And I also think that it, it's it's extremely important that we operate and move and do things that we need to do and that we need to put in position for ourselves. And so I'm extremely connected to what we're learning and what we're doing. Um, in this season, ladies and gentlemen, at the midpoint, I think it's imperative that we know which direction in life we're going in. I don't know. Some people feel like they're stuck. Some people feel like they're in a hamster wheel. There may be some people that feel like I go 10 steps ahead, I get knocked 2 steps back. They feel like, they're just, some of us may feel like I just don't even try anymore because it seems like when I try, nothing happens. Whatever your circumstance is, I believe that change can be made. I don't believe you have to stay and accept things the way they are. Live life. Don't let life live you. And I'm ranting right now. I shouldn't be ranting, but somebody needs to hear this. And so, in this season of our lives, I believe it's no greater time than the present, and how we are able to elevate and move into the position that we're in. And so I want to connect with you guys and really uh, get into this today. Let's go ahead and get into our spiritual mind treatment. Just find a quiet place and close your eyes and begin to just quiet out the noise, quiet out the any kind of disturbance, anything that would disturb your peace, disturb your calmness, disturb uh, your emotions, your mind, your heart, your soul, and bring it to a level of quietness, a level of stillness. Go ahead and take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Again, take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Again, take another deep breath and inhale and exhale. You are not trapped. You are not stuck. You are not imprisoned by your circumstances. You are only experiencing the consequences of a decision. Every destination begins as a direction. Every outcome begins as a decision. Every future begins as a thought. Every life is moving somewhere. Today we awaken from unconscious movement. Today we become conscious travelers. Today we stop drifting and start directing. Infinite intelligence is present now. Divine wisdom is present now. Creative power is present now. The spirit of transformation is present now. I recognize that there is only one mind, one power, one presence, one infinite source expressing itself through every person listening to this teaching. That presence is not limited. That presence is not confused. That presence knows the way, and because it knows the way, there is a way. I release every belief that says change is impossible. I release every attachment to old identities. I released every loyalty to limitation. I release every unconscious agreement with fear. I release every destination that no longer serves my highest good. I now accept a new vision, a new direction, a new destiny. I declare that wisdom is guiding me. I declare that courage is activating within me. I declare that my inner compass is functioning perfectly. I declare my life is moving into a greater harmony, greater purpose, greater prosperity, greater peace, and greater fulfillment. And so it is, and so it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. Once again, my name is Issachar Bey, and today we're going to be talking about your destiny changes the moment your direction changes. Your destiny changes the moment your direction does. And so I got to ask the question, ladies and gentlemen, what direction are we going in? What direction are you going in? One of the greatest misconceptions in human consciousness is the belief that destiny happens to us. It's one of the greatest misconceptions is the belief that destiny happens to us. It does not. Destiny emerges from direction. Most people spend their lives obsessed with destinations while ignoring directions. They want financial freedom, but their direction points toward debt. They want healthy relationships, but their direction points towards dysfunction. They want peace, but their direction points towards chaos. They want abundance, but their direction points towards scarcity. The universe does not respond to what you want. The universe responds to where you are headed. The universe responds to direction. If you board a plane headed to New York, your intentions do not matter. Your wishes do not matter. Your hopes do not matter. The direction determines the destination. Life works the same way, ladies and gentlemen. The question is not, what do you want? The question is, where are you headed? Most people never ask this question. That is why they are shocked by the outcomes they created. I have to ask the question, ladies and gentlemen, where are you headed? We are in the mid of the year, the midpoint of the year. We're in the middle of the year. Where are you headed? Where are you headed? Every human being possesses an inner compass. Some call it intuition. Some call it wisdom. Some even call it spirit. Some call it higher consciousness. I call it your inner compass, your inner GPS. The problem is not that people lack guidance. The problem is that they ignore guidance. The inner compass whispers, the ego screams, the soul nudges, fear panics, the higher self guides, the conditioned self resists. Your destiny begins to change when you become more loyal to your inner compass than your outer circumstances. Most people follow circumstances. Masters follow consciousness. Circumstances are temporary. Consciousness is creative. The moment you trust your inner compass, it begins to recalculate your route. You know, when I'm driving, before technology and before AI and before the internet and all of that. Remember, we used to go on Google Maps and we used to print out our directions that where we were going, and it'd be 10 miles, make a left, go down to exit 14, come off of exit 14 and make a right. You would have a paper that you would look at while you're driving that would tell you which way to go. Now we have a GPS system, and sometimes when you're driving and you miss your exit or you miss your turn, it will reroute you to go to the same destination, but just doing it a different way. The thing that really bothers me about this, ladies and gentlemen, is I ask the question, which direction are you going in? Some people are not even going in any direction at all. They're not even going nowhere. They're comfortable just being where they are. They're not even going anywhere. And I'm concerned about that because, ladies and gentlemen, we are entering some very serious times, ladies and gentlemen, where we need to be locked in with what we're doing within our own stratospheres, our own ecosystems, our own lives. We teach here at the Temple of Enlightenment how to become the better version of yourself, how to be, do, and have all of your heart's desires. We teach how to create your own reality. Somebody says, what does that mean? That means how to create the life that you want to live, how to create the things that you want to experience, how to pull things from the intangible realm into the physical realm. And so that's the important thing, is that when I ask the question, what direction are you going in? Some people are not even moving. They're not even moving. And so it brings us to a place where we have to look and see which direction are we going in. Because we'll look up, ladies and gentlemen, and it'll be December 31st, and we'll be saying, wow, what's going to happen here and what's going to happen there? And so we need to put ourselves in a better position to win, in a better position to be able to manifest and be able to really bring our lives to a higher level, a higher plateau. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot create a new destiny with an old identity. You know, ladies and gentlemen, identity seems to be very important in this day and time. I was talking to a friend of mine who was filling out a job application, and she was telling me how they are really serious about how one identifies themselves. and they want to know how you identify, who do you identify as when filling out the job application. And I felt that was very interesting because I believe that in this day and time, we have the ability to be who we want to be. Not who we're trying to be, not who we hope to be, not who we wish to be, but who we are. Who we are. You don't get out of life what you want, ladies and gentlemen. You get out of life what you become, and you have to become that thing. One of the deepest truths I've ever learned in this, your life can only grow to the level of the identity you accept. Let me say that again. Your life can only grow to the level of the identity you accept. Who do you identify as? Do you identify as successful? Do you identify as somebody who's hardworking, somebody who's motivated, somebody who's putting themselves in the best version of their life and beginning to operate and move things around? And ladies and gentlemen, we're in a time now where we have to start using our minds. We have to start growing and expanding. Many people want a new future while still remaining committed to the old self. See, when I talk about a new identity, that you cannot create a new destiny with the old identity. Once you change your thought pattern and how you identify yourself, everything changes. Muhammad Ali told us that he was the greatest, and everybody called him the greatest. Everybody believed he was the greatest, but he identified as the greatest, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. Muhammad Ali was Cassius Clay. He became Muhammad Ali, and he told everybody that he was the greatest. He told everybody, I identify as the greatest. So when we talk about Muhammad Ali, we always talk about him being the greatest. Why? Because that's what he identified as. He identified as the greatest. But what happens is, once he changed his identity, everything in his life changed. He became a very successful boxer. He became also a very successful civil rights, part of the civil rights movement. He became very active in the communities. He became this person of great notoriety. And it started with him changing his identity. Many people want a new future, but they are committed to the old self. You got to let the old self go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to identify as somebody new, you can't hold on to the old self. A lot of people want millionaire results with broke thinking. They want healthy relationships with wounded consciousness. They want extraordinary outcomes with average habits. It does not work. Destiny follows identity. The first direction that must change is not geographical, it's psychological. Your life changes when your self-concept changes of how you see yourself. Because every decision flows from identity. And every destiny flows from decisions. Every decision flows from identity. When Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest, he told the whole world he was the greatest. He went on talk shows and told all the sports announcers and interviewers that he was the greatest. He told everybody he was the greatest. That's who he identified as. Once he changed that, every decision flows from that identity of him being the greatest. And destiny flows from decisions. So his decisions flows from the identity, and then your destiny flows from the decisions. And so we can see that in this midpoint of the year, where we are in the middle of the year, we now have come conscious that our decisions are going to flow from our identity. And you got to ask yourself, at this midpoint of the year 2026, who do I identify as? I don't want to identify as broke. I don't want to identify as being lonely. I don't want to identify as being sick. I don't want to identify as being stuck, being upset, angry. I don't want to. I don't want to identify as those things. So who do you identify as? You know what, ladies and gentlemen, there is a cost. There is a hidden cost to staying the same. You know, a lot of people don't change. They just want to be the same. They, you know, I get very, you know, concerned when I see people who are not moving in life. When you ask them, what direction are you moving? Some of them are not even going in any direction. They're just there. And it becomes a question of, are you living or just existing? And so we have to look at that, because now that puts us in a different position now, because I want to live life. I don't want life to live in me. I don't want to just exist in life. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy the fruit of my labor. I want to have the freedom to experience the things that I want to experience. And I believe that I will. But there's a hidden cost to staying the same. I don't want to stay the same. Ladies and gentlemen, every year you should be getting much wiser. You should be getting better. You should be more accumulated. You should be elevating every year. You should not be the same. Most people think change is expensive. It's not. Stagnation is expensive, not change. Stagnation is expensive. The wrong relationship is expensive. The wrong belief is expensive. The wrong environment is expensive. The wrong self-image is expensive. The wrong direction is expensive. The longer you travel in the wrong direction, the greater the cost becomes. The longer you travel in the wrong direction, the greater the cost becomes. This is why wisdom says, turn around early. Your ego will say, keep going, because you've already invested so much. Never allow your past investments to justify your future suffering. Let me say that again. Never allow your past investments to justify your future suffering. A wrong road does not become right because you had traveled it for years. A wrong road does not become right because you traveled it for years. Doesn't make it right just because you traveled it. I really hope that this lecture today will begin to get into people's minds and begin to change and begin to expand their minds. Once the mind expands, it never goes back to its original size. That's what we do here at the Temple of Enlightenment, ladies and gentlemen. We expand your consciousness. History changes because of decisions. Destinies change because of decisions. One decision can alter a generation. One decision can alter a family tree. One decision can alter a bank account. One decision can alter a marriage. One decision can alter a life. Every great transformation begins with a decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a dream, not a decision. A decision. A decision means to cut away. You must cut away alternatives. You must become committed. I say this. This is what I use. Genocide is the killing of a generation. Suicide is to kill oneself. And when you decide, you kill all other options. And so that's what makes decisions so powerful. Many of us don't make decisions. We allow other people to make decisions for us. I want us to take control back over our lives. We have other people controlling our lives, telling us how to think, what to do, how to do it. That's why when people come and get a consultation with me and I show them the hand that they were dealt in this life, it brings them to a great level of awareness and self-awareness and self-knowledge, because now they say, oh, wow, now I understand why I am the way that I am. I now know this and I know that. I now understand the significance of everything that I've done. I understand the significance of my thoughts and my decisions. You know, when I'm making a decision, I look at everything. I look at, if I turn right, what happens? If I go left, if I go straight, if I do nothing, what happens? You know, you sit down and you really count the cost. But not only that, ladies and gentlemen, it's always about being in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. That's why you need somebody that's in your ear. Whoever is in your ear will determine your year. And so that's why you need somebody. You need a seer. You need somebody who can look and decode the language of the heavens and begin to declare what is being said in the heavens, so that I'm doing things in the right time. I had a gentleman call me from listening to our lecture, and he was getting ready to release a new product. And he said, look, you know, I heard you on YouTube. He scheduled a consultation. I was able to help him to pick the right time, the right date to release this product so that it would be successful. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you really never understand the power of really getting into everything that the universe has for you. A new direction in life always requires a decisive action. Here at the Temple of Enlightenment, we always go from inside out, not outside in. You are not merely living a life, you are writing a script. Every thought writes, every belief writes, every one of your action writes, every habit you have writes, every conversation writes, every emotional reaction writes. The question is, what script are you writing? Guess what? To those who are not doing anything at all, you're writing a script. even in acquiescence, even in silence. What script are you writing? Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the middle of the year. We're in June. And before you know it, six months from now, we'll be in December. We'll be Christmas and New Year's and entering into 2027, ladies and gentlemen. What script are you writing? The producer decides what gets funded. The author decides who gets what gets written. The director decides what gets emphasized. The actor decides what gets embodied. You are all four. You're the producer, the author, the director, and the actor of your life, ladies and gentlemen. This means you have the power to rewrite your life. You have the power to rewrite your life. I want you to walk away from this today and say to yourself, don't just say I need to make a change and I need to change my life, but you can rewrite the script and life will change. One decision, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to wait till next week. You don't have to wait till the summer solstice. You don't have to wait till July 4th. You don't have to wait to anything. At this moment right here, you can make one decision, ladies and gentlemen, that will change the trajectory of your life. One decision will change the trajectory of your life. The moment you rewrite the script, destiny begins changing directions. Listen, the moment you rewrite the script, destiny begins to change. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, your destiny changes the moment your direction does. Your destiny changes the moment your direction does. What direction are you going in, ladies and gentlemen? Because your destiny changes once you rewrite that script, you change the directions now. You change the directions. Listen, everything is systematic, ladies and gentlemen. There's a system in everything. I gotta talk about this because I feel that it's imperative that we understand life and where you are in life, which direction you're going in. Some people feel like I should be further along in life than I am. I should have accomplished more. And I'll say to you, I understand how you feel, but now is the time. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk about what I shoulda, coulda, woulda, did. I have the ability to create right here and right now. I can make one decision that can alter and change my life. And remember, my destiny changes once my direction does. So when I make the change in my direction, my destiny has no choice but to change. I no longer remain broke. I no longer remain stuck. I no longer remain in the position and the circumstances I'm in. Once I make that decision, it seems like things just started coming together. It seems like streams of income opened up. It seemed like the right people were in the right place. I got my credit together. I got everything together. I begin to move and operate and shift. And so that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. That's what happens when we understand the significance of changing our direction in life. You know, married couples, you've been married and you feel like your marriage is at a stagnant spot. You love each other, but it's like we're just stagnant. We're not going anywhere. We're not moving. We're kind of stuck in a hamster wheel. We go to work, we come home. We go to work, we come home. But I would like to have more in our marriage. Your marriage, the destiny of your marriage changes when your direction does. So yes, in your marriage, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask the question. We're in the middle of the year, 2026. I'm going to ask those that are married, where are you? In your marriage, where are you? And you'll be surprised to know the two in the marriage may not even be on the same page, let alone be in the same book. One could be going right, one could be going left, one could be going up, one could be going down. One could be going in, one could be going out. We're not even on the same. And so you got to look at this, ladies and gentlemen, from every perspective of your life. Where are you? Because in order to change my marital destiny, I got to change my direction. Me and my husband, me and my wife, we got to change the direction. We got to move in a new direction so that our marital destiny can change. We gotta build a new roadmap, ladies and gentlemen. Because if we change the directions, we got to recalibrate some things. You know, we were going a certain way, but we didn't exit 152B. And so because we didn't exit 152B, we kept going straight. So now things are being recalibrated. And for a roadmap, let me give you the requirements of a roadmap. Your vision, where am I going? Your purpose, why am I going there? Your strategy, how will I get there? Discipline, what must I consistently do? Navigation, how will I adapt when conditions change? Most people fail because they have wishes. Successful people have maps. Now, just the other day, I'm here in San Antonio, ladies and gentlemen, and the San Antonio Spurs won Game 7 yesterday, and they're playing the New York Knicks, which is my team. I'm a Knicks fan, born and raised in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, in the NBA Finals. And as I was driving yesterday, there was a lot of roadblocks because they were downtown. Everybody was celebrating. They were jumping for joy, leaping, and having a great time because the San Antonio Spurs have made it to the finals again. And so they won the Western Conference Finals, and now they're playing the New York Knicks for the championship. And so they were blocking off certain areas and certain highways and the roads. So when I'm driving, when I go to a certain place and I was supposed to exit, I can't exit off of that exit anymore because it's closed. So now I have to recalibrate and begin to create a new roadmap on how can I get to my destination, because the normal way that I used to go is no longer available to me. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens in life. Sometimes we want to go to a certain destination and we were used to going one way, but sometimes life blocks things and you got to go a different way. Remember, destiny changes when the direction does. Some of us are, this is real, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. Some of us have been asking, praying, meditating that we want this and we want that. And when life begins to move us around and allows us to move certain things and get out of the way, we get upset because we don't understand why those things are happening. But you don't realize you were meditating, you were praying, you were asking for these things to change. In order for those things to change, your direction has to change. You can't keep going the same way you used to go. You got to recalibrate. You got to create a new roadmap. Most people fail because they have wishes. I wish I can travel the world. I wish I could have a big house and a brand new car. I wish I could have a lovely spouse. I wish I could have a beautiful marriage. I wish I could have a beautiful family. I wish I could have more money than I could count. I wish I could be healthy. We wish. Successful people have maps. You cannot arrive intentionally somewhere you never mentally visit. Create the vision, create the map, follow the map, adjust the map. Never abandon the destination. Never abandon it. Life is about adjustments. Life is about making adjustments, pivots, adjustments, learning how to pivot, learning how to make adjustments. It's about making adjustments. Some of us don't like change. Some of us like to do the same thing that we've been doing, but it's make adjustments, learn how to pivot. Your future already exists as possibility, but possibility requires embodiment. The future version of you has different habits, different standards, different expectations, different conversations, different emotional responses. The question becomes, who must I become to experience what I desire? Who must I become to experience what I desire? The answer to that question reveals your next direction. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask this to you. Who must I become to experience what I desire? Who must I become? And that next direction reveals the next destiny. The answer to that question reveals the next direction. And that next direction reveals your next destiny. Because when you change your direction, ladies and gentlemen, you change your destiny. That's in finances, that's in health, that's in marriage, relationships. People who are looking for relationships, right? They come to me all the time and they say, when am I going to fall in love? When am I going to find love? When is love going to find me? You know, and so you keep doing the same thing you've always been doing. Once you change your direction, your destiny begins to change. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why it's so important. And I'm going to keep talking about this over and over again, because every time I talk about scheduling a consultation and somebody calls me and says, you know what, I heard you talking about this consultation thing and I'm totally blown away. This is what they're telling me. Because, you know, I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking you was going to do some hoo-boo-jubo stuff. But I'm totally blown away because you have enlightened me to who I am. Everything you said about me was right on. You've spoken to me on how I need to make the changes that I need to make. Because this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you that you need to change directions. You still don't know how to do that. Everybody don't change its directions the same way. We're not the same people. Everybody makes changes differently. And so we have to look at things from a certain perspective here. Yes, the way that I make my decisions, I make my decisions based on how I feel. I'm very intuitive. I move with intuition. I move with my feeling nature. Some people may make changes based on their thoughts and how they think. Some people may make decisions based on the information that they're able to compile and research. And so you have to learn how to make who you are. That's why it's important that you know who you are. And I'm going to keep saying this and saying this over and over again, because every time I get in a conversation with somebody, they're like, oh my God, you 1,000% right, everything you're saying. And once you know who you are, once you know the hand that you were dealt in life, it changes everything about you. Because now it's almost like you're discovering, like, wow, I can't believe I'm a superhero. All this time, I thought I was a regular human being, and now you've shown me my superpowers, and you've shown me how I am this superhuman and the powers that I possess. So, who must I become to experience what I desire? And the answer to that question reveals your next direction. And your next direction reveals the next destiny. Doors will begin to open. Things will begin to really, really transpire. You got to stop asking, what do I want? You got to begin asking, what direction am I moving? You got to stop focusing on an outcome. Focus on the direction you're going in. Stop waiting for destiny. Start creating destiny. Stop following fear. Stop following your inner compass. Stop rehearsing old stories and start writing new ones. Your future is not waiting for permission. Your future is waiting for direction. And your destiny changes the moment your direction does. It does, ladies and gentlemen. It does. And when you get into that mind frame and you get into that level of consciousness, your speech changes, your walk changes, your thoughts change, everything begin to change, and you begin to say stuff like, my destiny changes as I change directions. You begin to say, every day I am becoming the person my destiny requires. You begin to say stuff like, I am creating a future greater than my past. My destiny changes the moment my direction does. You begin to say stuff like, I move confidently towards my highest vision. You begin to say that I trust myself to make bold decisions. You begin to say, I release every path that no longer serves me. My inner compass always guides me wisely. Every day I become the person that my desire requires, that my destiny requires. I choose wisdom over confusion. I choose possibility over limitation. I choose purpose over distraction. I choose faith over doubt, and I choose growth over comfort. A destination is simply a direction continued long enough. Change the direction, and the destination must eventually change. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this. Listen, if this message has expanded your consciousness and has given you something to think about and has really been profound to you, I ask that you click the share link, copy the link, email it, text it to your friends, tell them to listen, tell them we're here every week, same place, same time. Let them know that we want them to be a part of our community. Help us grow our channel. Help us expand. Those of you that are listening that says, you know what, I'm stuck in life. I need to find I need to find some sense of direction, destiny. Invest in yourself. Click the link and schedule a consultation. Let's get together. Let's sit down. Let's click on the link. We can do a Zoom call, and let's sit down and click a link and talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about what needs to happen and what needs to be done. Let's talk about it. Let's put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, because I believe that there's no greater time than the present. I believe that, and I'm excited about our future. I'm excited about the uh, the significance of everything that's happening. I'm actually grateful for everything that's happening. And I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say you got to really look at your direction in life, where you're going. You don't want to be going in the wrong direction. You don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to be stuck. Life is happening, but I want to live my life. I don't want life to live me. I don't want people telling me how to live my life. I don't want people making decisions for me. I don't want people telling me when to do this and when to do that and when I can do this and I can't do this and I can only do this and I can only do that. Life, ladies and gentlemen, is all that we have. As spiritual beings having a human experience, our lives are everything that we have. And I think that it's most important that you move in the right direction. Somebody asks, well, how do you know you're in the right direction? Click the link, schedule a consultation with me. Let's look at the hand that you were dealt. Let's look at what's happening in the heavens. And let's see what direction you're going in, if you're going in the right direction, or if you weren't even going in any direction at all. I want to say this. Those of you that want to be a blessing to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center, go ahead and click the link below. In the description, there's 4 ways that you can give. No gift is too small. No gift is too big. We are grateful for every financial gift that's sown, that's donated into this ministry, to this organization. And we want to say thank you. We believe that everybody who sows into this ministry and begins to donate, that everything that your hands touch in this year of 2026 will begin to be manifest. We believe that everything your hands touches will be successful, and that everything you need will come into the right place. You will be at the right place at the right time to meet the right people, to get the right connections that you need. We speak it into existence, and so it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. And I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.